All right. Today, we are talking about something that will make a huge impact on your business and your life. And if you use it, if you implement it, and that's a big promise, but it's just the truth. And what we're talking about today is available to anyone. It's available to anyone. The challenge is, and this is what drives me nuts, is that only about 1% of the population will do this. And that 1% are the people that are the top earners in the world. So, what I'm referring to is your ability to cultivate resourcefulness when the world's against you. And so it's both that cultivating that resourcefulness to get against the external obstacles as well as the internal obstacles. And so I'm going to start today going over a simple model that I learned from Tony Robbins that I've had a lot of success using with clients. So my first question is, what's the Holy Grail of staying the course to achieve a really outrageous goal? What's the Holy Grail? Answer is certainty. The certainty in your belief, because if you absolutely know you can achieve the goal, you're not going to give up. So let me just go through this simple model that I learned from Tony. What's the first thing that determines whether you can achieve something? It's potential. And whether someone taps into that potential is driven by the actions they take. And most people have a belief about what the real potential is, no matter what you tell them, which then in turn affects how much actions they take, which then affects the results they achieve. And then the results they achieve will reinforce their beliefs. And there's actually a chart. At some point, I'm going to put it up, but think of it like the boxes down here with belief, potential up here, actions over here, and results. And what happens is if you get great results, you increase your belief, you tap more in your potential, you take more action, you get better results, and it's an upward spiral. But the spiral also works the other way, is if you start getting, if you believe your potential is not that much, you take less action, you get better, lousy results, and then you get your beliefs reinforced. Okay, so a simple example, and I've had this with clients, is let's say I have a client, and I don't know why, I get a lot of people from Ivy League schools. I've had a lot of people from Harvard that they have a capability based on the field they're in to make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 but the challenge is if they feel their potential or their capability is only 100,000, how much income do you think they're going to be making? Well, the answer is obvious. They're going to be at that $100,000 range. And if they, by chance, get into a higher paying job, it's going to self-sabotage and they'll go back to where they feel they're capable at. So if you believe you have limited potential, how much action you're going to take. If you believe you have limited potential and you take limited action, what type of results are you going to get? Bottom line, you're going to get lousy results. And then again, as I've already mentioned, what does that do to your belief? And then so eventually your mind says, well, look, I told you so. I told you that working on this goal was a waste of my time. I told you this wasn't going to work. And now you're in that downward spiral and you start tapping into less of your potential, you get worse results, and it becomes self-fulfilling. And what I would say that with everyone I've worked with, and again, I've worked with over like 1,700, 1,600 people, that every one of them had some unconscious belief about their potential that was not in alignment with their true potential. And that's what's exciting about what I do, is because that's what I do, is help people break through that barrier so they can tap into more who they really are. So basically what happens, without going into a long, it's a whole other conversation, but you just collect a number of beliefs, both consciously and unconsciously, about your potential by just living life, having things happen to you. And we are meaning makers, and we make up meanings about what it means. And a lot of times we make meanings that disempower us. And that goes into the unconscious without even our awareness of it's happening. Okay, so let me talk about the good news from here. So, what if something comes along and fulfills you with absolute certainty you can achieve the goal? And let's say it's an outrageous goal. Well, then you're going to tap more of your potential. You're now going to take massive action. You're going to get great results, and you're going to feel like a superhero. And now your identity has expanded, and you're in that upward spiral. So, so what I would say, it's the core difference in people. The core difference is, how do you produce certainty when the world isn't giving it to you? For sure, it's not about changing your potential or taking more action. What's it about is, you've got to get the results in your head that makes you feel certain, as if it's already happened, that you've already achieved the goal, that it's inevitable. You have to have an obsession that you're getting the result, and you just know it's going to happen. And when you're in that place, you're willing to burn your bridges. You're going to be more decisive. So then the question becomes, well, how much does the mind affect performance? Well, I'm going to answer that by just giving you one simple example. Is, a lot of you are familiar with Roger Bannister. He was the first man that ever broke the 4-minute mile. And he first tried to break it by doing it physically. He would go out and run races and train and train and train, physically get better. He never ever broke it. And so what his secret was, he then changed his strategy, and he rehearsed it in his head time and time again, of seeing himself breaking the 4-minute mile. And as a result, he eventually breaks it. And then that year when he broke it, I think it was like 32 other runners then broke that 4-minute barrier. And I'm going to wager almost anything extraordinarily that's been done, like, let's say Thomas Edison. I didn't interview him. I'm not that old, but I've got to believe, to do something that had never been done like that, and to go through the number of experiments that he went through, he absolutely had a feeling of certainty that it could be achieved. He had to see it in his mind as being done. And that's what propelled him through all the difficulty. So my recommendation is, again, I don't know why, maybe it's belief again, why people do not do this, but this is so key, is once you decide to go after an outrageous goal, which I highly recommend you do, you have to establish a ritual to condition your mind. Where everyone gravitates to is, they gravitate to the planning and the strategy, and you need those, but you need, more importantly, the fuel to push you through the barriers that you're going to encounter along that route of getting a goal. So there's a lot of different ways to go about this. I'm going to give you some recommendations which I found successful with me and my own clients. Is, I've mentioned in previous posts that I use a technology called Newcom. It's one of my favorite tools, and they have an app that you can only get through them. It's called the Ignite app. And the Ignite app has about 4 different tracks on it, and I would recommend using the track called Certainty. And this track was developed scientifically of how it can impact your brain, to put your brain in absolute certainty, put your brain in that warrior mode that you're going to achieve it. And so I know for me, when I go after challenging goals, I use that every morning. It's about a 13-minute track. And then the other piece that you want to do, and I do this when I'm working on goal, is I identify a couple core beliefs that I feel, if I own those with certainty, if I have certainty in these particular beliefs, it will facilitate me achieving the goal. And so I'll just give you some example. You can decide for your own self what beliefs you'll need. But like some of the ones I use that are more generic that can apply to almost any goal I go after is I have one that is a more global belief in conquering challenges. And that's how the ones I'm going to mention now are more global is like I have one that when I commit, I always find a way. Or exactly what I need comes the exact moment I need it. Or no matter how strong the challenge, when I commit to find the answer, the universe, you can say God always provides the answer, exactly what's needed. And I have a number of others that when I'm listening to the Ignite app, I say those beliefs with in a state of certainty and with a lot of emotion. And concurrently, as I'm going through the Ignite app, I also use my visualization to see the goal already achieved. And I see the victory and I feel the victory. And I do that day after day after day, sort of like Roger Bannister breaking the 4-minute mile. Is it brings in so much certainty that I'm going to hit the goal that when I start hitting the difficulties and the challenges and the self-doubt, it gets wiped out because that is stronger in me. I know I can achieve it. So my request for you is to get a ritual and use this. It's such a basic thing, but such a key thing to do extraordinary thing and tap more on who you are. So if you have any questions about this, contact me. I'd love to help you with this. Have a great day. Thank you.